Let's find out in Game 2 if Mavericks can come back now. They got off to a good start in Game 1, picks and bans are ready, and we'll find out exactly how OutCold Gaming will respond too, because, well, like we said, their draft felt very mid to late game focused, and they fought through the early game where Mavericks had a huge lead, something like 12-2 in terms of kills, as you said. So they will ban hi-rez, however. Surprising that Mavericks do that as first pick. Do you reckon that's because they're not going to play it themselves?
I think it's because they're not going to play it themselves and they don't want to let Cynortas run it again. Even though they were able to find some early pick potential on Cynortas with that Hera, by the time it transitioned into mid and late, it just did not seem to really make that much of an impact. Argus was just being dropped left, right, all over the place. Really hard to control as well. And even with the Shibalanke ultimate, I still think that Mavericks just struggled way too much than what they would have liked with that Argus.
Back is taken away by OutCold Gaming there, so a couple of little changes, not too many overall. Freya still available at the moment. We'll see if Freya does get locked in again. Obviously the performance there was one victory, but Naja was the other god that was banned in Game 1, now available for Game 2. Has been seen quite flexible though, Taco Naja, mainly for the support role over the jungle these days.
It could be in the support role very well here. Ring toss and the fact that Ninja has that AoE spread on the auto attack chain makes it ideal in that support position. Could also be for the solo lane in case you're looking for a really aggressive but solo laner, but that all depends on how Mavericks really want to build the rest of their front line, because this Ninja could just be the central part of a pick-based composition. Going for the raw leads me further to believe though that this could be a jungle pick selection, because I think you get a lot better benefit, I think, from the Ninja jungle over the Ninja support when you have an aggressive mid laner like Ra.
I was going to say, you're correct, because Ninja ult combos work very well, but it is actually going to be the Susano locked in, which will give the game away. That's more than likely going to be the Ninja in the support role. Can flex to the solo lane, but not seen too much. And I mentioned Guan at the start of the day, Taco, in Game 2, we'll get a little look at it. Do you reckon that's because we've seen a bit of healing coming out from our Mavericks here, that we see a bit of an answer from OutCold?
I think that OutCold want a little bit of teamfight sustain. Also, Guan Yu is just, I think he's got really great protection shred. So if Mavericks were to try and double down with two frontliners in the 4th, 5th pick selection, I think that the Guan Yu Talo Assault will be beneficial there.
And the Talo Assault is knock-up immune, remember, too, so it does stop a little bit of what Susano can bring with those knock-ups in those team fights, as well as the cavalry charge too. But into the counter-ban phase we go. Mavericks will take away the Freya, and OutCold Gaming the Shibalanke. It will be OutCold Gaming with the first selection here now, and I'm excited to see which hunter they end up going for with some of these taken off. Kurno's still available at the moment. He's the next one potentially on the hunter list at the moment. I
think Kurnos is so strong for matching early game pressure. OutCold, though, they haven't revealed anything in terms of their dual lane. The only thing we can guesstimate so far from Mavericks is that there's likely to be a Ninja in the support role. And I'm actually not too certain how to feel on that one. I think that Susano Wind Siphon can also be a great tool for helping set up the raw Celestial Beam into the Searing Pain, but it's still questionable at times, because that means you have to get up close and personal. And if the Susano is having to be the one throwing themselves slightly out of position, that does bring up some concerns of what sort of counter initiation OutCold could look for then.
Hachiman locked in then as the first hunter of this draft locked in. The Khepri, not surprising, it has grown a little bit more in terms of flavor and want and need to be played, but at the same time it's a bit surprising to see him not draft a hunter and leave the hunter till last pick.
Really wanted to see, I think OutCold just wanted to see if he could go for a more aggressive pick to try and find some more of those boxing matchups, or if he should look for something a little bit more team-oriented. And here, Ullr, that just screams looking for dual lane pressure, especially when paired alongside that Khepri. But I am concerned here for OutCold, because there is a lot of burst potential from that of Mavericks, and if OutCold aren't careful, I think that an early game lead for Mavericks this time would bring about a lot more threatening early to mid game. Okay, well, let's find out then. The cast is already standing by. Can OutCold Gaming take this out, or Mavericks find the win?
Can Maverick force the Game 3? That's going to be the question here. I will point out, I believe OutCold were the only team to go to Game 3 in Week 1, SML and SCL. So history tells us that Maverick has a chance. But what about the drafts here, Ryan? Which of these teams are you leaning a little bit more towards?
I really like the Naja support for Mv3. We'll see if Jose decides to go boots this game. But, you know, with the blink, maybe the Relic Dagger will be more valuable. Cynortas just played so well in Game 1 on the Hera, and now he's getting a chance on the Raijin to make that same sort of impact. I do like OutCold's odds, but I don't know. I think MV3's comp could work out really, really well. Beast is on a character that can, again, play aggressively if he gets a lead. JhoX is on a character that has a much better late-game impact than that of Willish, so maybe MV3 can turn it around.
I like this dual lane matchup, though, as there's a lot to talk about just across the map. We got Hachiman coming in up against the Ullr. It feels like we're seeing a little bit more Hachiman nowadays than we did towards the tail end of Season 5. We got the Khepri over here. Ullr's been a hotly contested pick. In fact, Beast might be into trouble already with the axe landing, but there was no immediate bladed arrow follow-up. They'll go right to purple.
Man, it's tough to imagine a world where Naja support gets out-pushed, but Ullr Khepri can do that, but look at this, Yassi making his way over. Axe will actually secure the purple buff, but now this fight could go really, really poorly until the ring toss actually misses for Jose, plus the sprint. Are they both gonna get out? They are. That just can't happen. You cannot let OutCold off the hook, because now this is gonna happen to you.
Jumps back in, forces out Beats early on. They're still only level 1, so it's harder to fight, but he goes into the grab. I don't know if that was the play. Now he's just a target. They can't quite take down mrsacx, though, but somehow OutCold have the pressure.
Man, that is crazy. Naja support, you're there to secure early buffs, because ring toss is so much damage in these fights, but it looked like Jose kind of let Just Lion and mrsacx walk up to the wave at level 1 without any sort of additional poke. You have to play aggressively in that spot. Even against Khepri and Ullr, that's why you're picking this Naja selection. Letting them get to the wave first and start pushing you, you've already made a mistake in your selection, and then to let them off the hook on that purple buff invade. Good job by mrsacx and Just Lion, by the way, to split up on their escape. That meant that ring toss wouldn't have been as impactful regardless, but it still should have been able to get at least 1 kill.
An early gank, though, from JhoX on the FataliTyxFire. Loki looks like he's going into the early Soul Eater, so some extra damage. They try and lock down the Guan Yu. The slow is there, but not better than the Susano and the Jetstream. First blood going over to Maverick.
I was nervous, man. He missed his wind siphon, and I was about to lose it, but ends up getting the kill. No harm, no foul. Good first blood by JhoX, and that's one of the best ways that you can really put pressure on the enemy jungler. Is your dual lane's already following behind.
Exactly.
Do you want to go over there? Sometimes that's the right call, but sometimes just going over to the other side of the map, making the jungler go and help out the solo lane, and then you get the chance to rotate over and help your duo lane. It's addition by subtraction. You're not going over there at all, so you're subtracting yourself from the equation, but you're getting them some more space.
Going back to the first blood, I wonder if that's a Raijin, if they are able to get that. Even without the ring bounce, just a more impactful level 2 character. You know, the Ra did come over there, but it was what, he dropped a heal, basically, was what his contribution was. So, man, just a lot of things that didn't quite go right for Maverick to be able to try and pick up that first blood on the left-hand side.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for them, but I think the Ra in the mid game is going to bring something that Raijin can't, and that's obviously the sustain, but it's also guaranteed burst follow-up off of Windfire wheels. That's what this whole comp is going to be designed to do, is really disrupt you, be annoying with the Susano, with the Sun Wukong. That's what those characters do very well. But the centerpiece, the keystone of this composition is going to have to be Jose and Yassi.
Ultimate should force out the Somersault Cloud from Loki, and it absolutely does. You talked a little bit about how important this Ra is going to be, and I think you're right, not just because, you know, he'll have that burst damage, but because of how quick it will be. If it's the Taiko drums, mrsacx has a lot more time to decide when and where he wants to use that Scarab's Blessing. It's going to be a much more difficult task, I think, trying to predict when the Ra snipe is going to come out, because it can be so quick, as Yassi has to use the beads to get away from Kinder Warrior, and that means Just Lion's all alone. He's already used his beads, but I don't know if he's running the right way. He gives up, recognizing his life's over.
Had no shot. JhoX still has that Typhoon, but it's not going to be used here. Lokiberto, no Somersault Cloud, no chance, right? He gets out of this one, but Kinder Warrior is completely out of mana. Maybe enough? No, Loki will eventually fall. And that's the one danger of the Soul Eater rush, is that he doesn't have any movement speed to get away. Even boost 2 is enough to guarantee that kill.
I like the idea, at least turning around and trying to get some extra damage off with the cudgel, maybe heal up a bit, but it's nowhere near enough at this point. He ends up falling quite easily as Kinder Warrior gets a response over in the solo lane after a good rotation from JhoX there earlier on. And just like Game 1, things are back and forth here so far. We're only 5 minutes in, but clearly these two teams very evenly matched.
Looks like Yassi actually had to use his Purification Beads in mid lane. That
from
puts
Kinder,
him in
I think, yeah.
Very vulnerable position at this point. Kinder Warrior can definitely come over and clean up that mid laner as soon as he has that ultimate back up and available. And Jose, again, decides not to go for tank boots, and I think they're so good in this game in particular, up against that Raijin and that Fear No Evil, I'm pretty surprised.
Just Lion is fighting with the confidence of a man with 2 friends, but he will pay for it as the ultimate comes through. Windfire Wheels punishing the Ullr, and you got to think the axe landing would have been a lot of help there.
It would have been, without a doubt, but that was beautiful by Jose. As much as that early game, Purple Buff Invade did not go his way, that fight was all him. He got no help at all. He 100-0 the enemy ADC, and that's the power of OhMyJhox support, even without any power options.
Now mrsacx is the one in trouble, or maybe not. He's got his big brother here to help out, dropping down the Fear No Evil, and that forced out the ultimate from OhMyJhox's Beast, but he turns around and finds the shot off the horse. Hachiman is so dang cool as he finds the kill.
Ooh, what? Just off the mark there with that Searing Pain. I don't know about continuing to chase. I don't even know if Celestial Beam kills at that health percentage onto mrsacx, but that is well done. Kinder Warrior probably has some choice words for his support, for the support dropping Scarab's Blessing on himself instead of the jungler, but that's always the price you pay or the risk you run by picking Khepri. You're gonna get yelled at by your teammate at some point.
Purple Buff Invade is there, but they got their eyes on a much tastier treat, and that's Just Lion, who I think is entirely unsuspecting of the trouble that's coming his way. He has no beads or their 8 seconds either, so they got to get in here and lock him down now. Sash into the Typhoon, easy kill. 2 assassins in your lane is absolutely no fun.
But does cost a blink and a Typhoon there. I feel like that could have been a little bit cleaner, especially with Ullr's beads being down. No reason to let him jump away in the first place. You basically want to just lead with Wind Siphon, pull him close enough that he has to jump away, and then your jet stream is guaranteed from that position. But again, very little harm, so we'll see if they get punished for losing Blink or losing that ultimate.
Max Ring Sash into the ring toss means that he is slow. Take him up into the air with the Windfire Wheels, and that's time for Best to get here for some follow-up as well. The Khepri almost dead, but they won't be able to clean it up now. He's gotten away. Wow, that should have been a pick. They were very close.
Very close, but Yassi's ultimate just now coming up off cooldown was on CD whenever mrsacx came down from that Windfire Wheels.
Can I ask you, what are some reasons you pick Ullr in the Hunter role?
You want early pressure. You think that you can out-skill your opponent and kill them pretty early on, and really just set up for your teammates with your stun in the later stages of the game. That's really the whole reason, because you're not going to be that late game power man. You know, you're doing okay, but you're still a hunter. You're still going to be doing okay, but it's not as potent as a Xywalanke or by any stretch in that lane.
Unfortunate, because a lot of those things sound like you like to run the early game to me, and
yeah,
so far, Just Lion's not really gotten to do that. Now, we're still in that early game. It's only 8 minutes in, but 0-3 already. It's definitely not the way that you want things to have gone, and I think the real problem is that Ullr can certainly be punished when there's multiple assassins on the map, right? Doesn't have the CC immunity. It takes a while for him to jump if he's in the bow stance and has to switch back. He can be vulnerable. So far in this game, OutCold has been getting punished for that choice.
Absolutely, but on the other hand, Just Lion's only down 200 gold and only a little bit of XP, so it's not like he's completely out of this game. He's definitely not where you want to be as Ullr. I can agree with you there, but really he's not as far behind even as he should be in this position. Beast has gone for the Devo's Rush, which means that his power curve starts much slower, but as soon as he finishes boots, he becomes really strong. I just don't like it right now, because he should be pushing this lead he could have right now.
Sash lands on the mrsacx. They want to lock him down. He actually blocks the dash. That was nuts. Scarab's Blessing is going to leave him right there in place, and they should be able to clean up the kill. They didn't want to use Windfire Wheels, but I think they had to at the end, and they get away from the axe. A nice pick onto the Khepri, and they'll take the purple.
Yeah, the Khepri is the one I think who's been struggling even more than the Ullr thus far. This Khepri just has not done a whole lot quite yet. Hasn't rezzed any of his teammates. Even the one res he has had happened right there in the duo lane, and he immediately gets put down upon his tiny little beetle legs hitting the ground. Doesn't get a moment to celebrate his life. This Khepri pick is another pick that you want to run the early game with. You want to get ahead, and right now he's pretty far behind, and it's partially mrsacx in the way that I think he's played so far, but it's really that Jose has been playing really well since that Purple Buff invade. 2-0-3, second overall in the player damage charts. This is why you pick the OhMyJhox support. It's just so potent in the early game, and it transitions really well into the late.
I believe it was first pick for them too, so they're certainly getting value. And this tracks for me, right? Because it didn't super seem like Jose wanted to build like a Guardian last game anyway.
Right.
So now he's on the Naja, and maybe this is more true to Jose. And right now it's looking that way. 2-0-3. And him and Jox paired up together, man, have been a nightmare on this duo side of the map.
They have, but I don't love the Shifter Shield pickup now for Jose. It's expensive. Yes, it gives you a ton of power.
A ton.
But a Void Shield does largely the same thing. You still get the chance to basically one-shot somebody, but you're doing more for your team because you're taking away their prots with your aura, and you're getting more defense all the time.
Poor Kinder Warrior, and that ultimate didn't find much, and
Nice
OhMyJhox best beast was right there to punish him with the Eagle Eye. They find the kill. Now Jox might be too far forward. The Taiko drums barely
Beautiful
stopped.
snipe, though.
But a double from Jose that's backed up by Ayase with the snipes, and all of a sudden a 3-for-1. And Maverick look like they don't know what to do. They won the fight so freely. Like, where do we go now?
Just Lion goes up and over the wall, but there's Lokiberto right on the other side. Stun should be there any moment. It's not even necessary. Yasi puts himself on the board. Good rotation out of the solo lane, and Maverick looking very clean. And you're right, it's really on the back of Jose right now.
An impressive play so far, I would say, from this Naja. And really had some nice plays last game, too, as they will find yet another pick. FataliTyxFire rotates over only to end up falling to Yasi to improve him to 2-0-3. And now with these timers so staggered, that's a tier 1. And I like the idea. They've got a Ra, though his mana is low. Pull this Gold Fury.
This is a little bit risky. Yasi won't have his ultimate up in order to secure, but I doubt that OutCold is going to really put themselves in the ring to try and steal away this Gold Fury. They're already down by so much. They can't afford to be losing red buffs even at this stage of the game. But look at this, Loki just walking in and forcing OutCold away, though it looks like red buff was secured.
I think it was, and yeah, we will see Cynortas pick that up. And that's another thing. Cynortas had such a great game for them in game 1. It did take him a while to get on. That was on the Hera. This game, though, he hasn't had a chance to have an impact. I wonder if that's because all the fighting has happened over here on Duo. It's been away from Cynortas for the most part.
It has, it has. He's second from the bottom on the player damage charts right now. He really has not been an impact so far in this game. So I think that if I'm Maverick, maybe I want to put a little bit more pressure onto him, make sure he's not getting to the later game without a whole lot of pressure on him. That's sort of lead they have now. I mean, this is the nightmare fuel for mid laners in this meta, is when the enemy support is playing something aggressive and they're the same level as you or a higher level than you. That is what gets me scared more than anything.
Hold him in a Thunder Crash. That's death every single time for poor Cynortas. He ends up falling. But you're exactly right, and it's bad enough when it's a Guardian, and because they do so well with levels in terms of damage, because they rely so much on base damage. But this time it's an Naja who built Shifter Shield, right? It barely feels like a tank Naja, and yeah, they're just running near the FG. No way they're considering it. But FataliTyxFire might be in trouble, even though he is the Guan Yu. He has the horse. That might need to come out as Sash lands.
Yep, he was DR'd, so that Sash did not guarantee that follow-up afterwards. Typhoon just a little bit too short, and that CC or that knockup immunity rather from Talu Assault that Hitnuman highlighted during picks and bans comes into play, gets Fatality outside of the range of that Wind Siphon, but does not help his tier 1 tower. Maverick is really grouping and going for objectives, and that's what is going to blow this lead open much more than what they had in game 1.
Yeah, they really have not allowed Cynortas to be a part of any of these fights. Now they're going to the right. They're not fighting around that middle lane, as mrsacx does land a 2-man root right into the Fear No Evil. That hits the whole team. That's what you dream of. But can they find any kind of way to capitalize off the back end? Yasi has the Aegis, but patiently waiting as Kinder and Fatality finds the kill.
Now Kinder Warriors already used the Purification Beads. Jox coming around the back. Wind Siphon's there. Jose very likely to fall on that backside. Kinder Warrior will not. As Sax actually gets that kill on the Jox. Nice. Finally, Loki's able to put down the enemy jungler. But still, that is beautiful for OutCold. Exactly what they needed.
Well, where's your Shifter Shield now, Ryan? I got to imagine that's what helped keep Jose alive on the back end of that one, as now Loki might be in a bit of trouble. Thunder Crash, Cynortas finally here to come say hello. Taiko drums just for the damage because of just how close this Wukong is. Gets some healing and the knockup. He wants to turn this around.
And then he turns around back in, and Master's Will would have done it, but he's still dying in that spot. And it's never worth your life for a support as a solo laner when you're that far ahead. So just bad decision making there from Lokiberto. Look, this is where I'm gonna steal it. This is not the anthem. This is Mv3 letting their lead play them.
Yes.
They're playing too aggressively. They get the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, and then what? They start forcing a fight.
It was directionless.
Over nothing at all, and they get punished for it heavily by Kinder Warrior's beautiful 4-man Fear No Evil.
As soon as the fight starts being about nothing is when it's a bad fight, even when you're out in front, right? And they've done a good job fighting and getting to the tier 1, fighting into Gold Fury, fighting into tier 1 in solo. But all of a sudden, when it just becomes a scramble just around the jungle, is when you always know that you're in danger, especially when there is an Unbots on the other side. And Kinder Warrior, it's what dreams are made of, man. When you're able to get the whole squad like that, push them away from your team, and that really set up for the rest of the fight. They couldn't get it as cleanly as they wanted to because of the lead, but still very impressive.
Yasi was good.
That Tiger Stun was sick.
Right in the middle of that ultimate, but still not enough to save his life. FataliTyxFire with the easy cleanup kill. But it was really Kinder Warrior who did all that work. Cynortas jumping in. He's put himself in a pretty strange spot. Now it's all just a big grouping on that top left side.
Well, no, he doesn't have the Thunder Crash. Keep pushing on to this Raijin. He has no way out, and Jose does. They find the kill off a curious decision from Cynortas. And now with Loki coming right back down, they can keep looking for more. mrsacx is by himself, and Loki keeps wanting to chase this, but low chance for the kill there. Instead, we should be with the Naja, who's fighting up against Just Lion.
Just Lion doing pretty good work. JHOX right next to him. The beautiful combo from Just Lion, and he jumps in.
I love it.
And gets the kill. Needs both relics after the fact, and Windfire Wheels will secure it, but love the gall of the enemy hunter.
Remember when I asked earlier why you pick Ullr? It's because you play like that, right?
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person who jumps in that situation, you should pick Ullr, as FataliTyxFire
Nice
is certainly in some trouble.
Beautiful stun, long range from Lokiberto.
7-0 and 8, by the way.
Coming down. Hey, is Naja support good?
Yes.
Yeah, agreed. And you're right. I will admit that the Shifter Shield saved Jose earlier on, where Void Shield would have certainly gotten him killed. So he was right and I was wrong.
In that one instance, yes.
In that one instance.
Gold Fury now being looked at by Mv3. But Cynortas, unchecked, could come in and steal it, but they've given up on it for now. They've dropped the objective, and instead they'll look towards this tier 1, which is only being guarded by a Khepri, level 13 at that. Not much he'll be able to do here. In fact, he's Tiger stunned. That should set up for the rest of the squad to come in. They block the dash as well. Nowhere for the Khepri to go.
2, 3, and 2 for the level 13 Love Bug. Not exactly what you're looking for out of your support. And that's going to be tier 2 tower, actually, now for Mv3. Again, their objective focus has really helped them. Even when they make the mistakes and push too far forward and look for the kills, it's really because they've gotten so much golden experience off of these objectives that it won't hurt them too much.
I've talked about so much in the offseason as Oni Fury now gets pulled. This will buff the next wave of minions from Mv3 as part of the new rotation of Furies over here on the left-hand side, and certainly claimed no way for OutCold to make it in. But I talked about how important duo lane pressure was, like, ad nauseum over the offseason. And that's what we saw. It doesn't always come from just the 2v2. This time it really was JHOX kind of just sitting on this dual lane, setting up shop between him and Jose, and constantly bullying out Just Lion, but really constantly bullying out mrsacx as well in this Khepri, and stealing the purple buff, having control of this left side of the map, and they built themselves a lead that way.
But it wasn't that he was only spending time in the duo lane. He also spent a lot of time in solo. He got that early kill on the FataliTyxFire. Lokiberto has been ahead basically all game because of it, and the Sun Wukong has really made the most of it. Top of the player damage. It's been a lot of poke damage, sure, but it hasn't been that much in lane, it felt like. It's been a lot of poke damage in these team fights and in these groupings, and that's what Wukong does best. Pokes you, is an annoyance, will do a little bit of CC to you, and you can never really lock him down and kill him, especially when your best lockdown is on the Khepri, and he's been so far behind he can't dash aggressively.
JHOX goes in aggressive with the Typhoon. He wants to lock down FataliTyxFire, but this is all to create space.
Wow, great steal
for the Pyromancer, but Cynortas gets it, but he gets his Thunder Crash interrupted again. That forces out Beads. A great sash from Jose, but now Kinder Warrior can't stay in this fight up against Lokiberto, who drops back in off the Somersault Cloud and forces out another open response.
No Evil's there, but a better snipe from Yasi puts down Kinder Warrior. Blink in underneath that tier 2. Cynortas now under great siege. Good Scarab's Blessing for mrsacx will buy him a moment. Shell right on top of it. I believe Cynortas is out.
And look at Just Lion. He's all alone over in duo, by the way, pushing down the tier 2 and left. This is a great response from the Ullr to try and at least get something back. There really was no way for him to get to this fight. A strong fight from Maverick on the right-hand side gets at least some answer back from OutCold.
That's some much-needed golden experience from that tier 1 and tier 2 tower on the left side. Good idea by Just Lion, but problem is Fire Giant is now in the sights of MV3.
It's 20 minutes in, though. This might not be quite as free as they want, but the good news is no one's really nearby to punish. Yassi's sitting a little bit inside those lava pools. That's dangerous. mrsacx comes in. They do confirm the objective, but then they get too low on the back end. mrsacx has to retreat, but Jose grabs him. Thunder Crash over the wall allows for the escape, and it's just FataliTyxFire left.
Slowed by Lokiberto, but look at this. This is going to be a chase too deep. Just Lion coming in. Yassi and Beast so low.
Oh, no.
And here comes the cavalry charge. Beast doesn't have his own horse, and he'll get put down by Kinder Warrior.
He absolutely will, but it does at least require an overcommit from FataliTyxFire. Meanwhile, Jose is all alone up at the top of the fight, and he's going to fall to Cynortas. Shut down. Jhox, though, wants the answer back, a 3 for 2 overall. It does favor Maverick. They do get the FG, as some good damage comes out from Just Lion, but still not as clean as they would have liked.
Just Lion's really thinking about it. He does end up jumping in. Knock up and snipe. A little bit off the mark. Somersault Cloud's still there. So is Jhox. Goodbye, Just Lion. Definitely baited in that spot.
You know, that's a tough one to hit the raw snipe off of, especially if you're not 100% sure that that knockup's going to be coming through from Lokiberto, but we've seen a couple like that from this raw, I think, that haven't been perfectly on sync. We also saw some very nice ones earlier that set up a double kill, so it's been hit or miss.
He does miss, huh?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Every once in a while. He had the good run underneath the tier 2. That's the nature of the beast. That's raw for you.
Sure.
You're gonna hit some really good ones. You're gonna whiff some. And the worst thing that you can do is hold it forever. And so I'd much rather see Yassi throw out these ultimates and miss than hold him in his pocket the whole time with how low of a cooldown it is.
Yo, I can't believe you thought Jose wasn't gonna grab a relic dagger at some point.
Yeah,
silly you.
Foolish. Yeah, that would have been really
you
foolish.
You never said that, but I'm pushing that on to you.
That's fine. Yeah, I accept it. I thought he might. I said right away, he got Blink level 1. He can get the relic dagger, and it'd be pretty good.
Well, he waited a little bit later in the game, which I like this time. So he's got some HP to try and round out around this Shifter Shield, which does provide some nice protections once he ends up low. The Genji's in the Hide of the Urchin there, too. He doesn't have quite as many stacks on it, honestly, as I thought. Ironically, he may have waited too late to get it because of how much killing he did early in the game.
Seriously. Yeah, at this point, it's kind of hard. But look at this. Ultimate straight on to someone on OutCold Gaming. Typhoon's there, but so is Scarab's Blessing. Just Lion saved, at least momentarily.
I can't believe he's jumping out of the fight either. I know he should, but it just isn't on brand for him.
Seriously.
As Maverick instead fall back. The tier 2 in mid, they can go breathe on that and bring it down and open up these Phoenixes proper. Good and proper, as Handyman would say, and find a way into these Firebirds.
That's because he speaks English strangely.
For some reason.
Yeah, it's so odd, isn't it?
Some kind of weird fairy tale made-up language he speaks. Actually, Loki's too far forward. These solo laners are not quite as tanky as you would have thought. Remember, Just Lion put some good damage onto him earlier, too. So maybe this Wukong needs to be careful.
Maybe the tier 2 tower in mid lane straight to Gold Fury is a little bit safer now for MV3, but...
You trying to speak to them by osmosis or something?
I'm like, hey, there's more objectives besides this Phoenix. They do have the Raw sustain, though, and you can stick around a little bit longer, but I don't love this call to stand around for much longer. Though they are getting some ultimates back up. The next time that Jose finds a Naja ultimate, though, it's got to be on Lokiberto and OhMyJhox to get on top of mrsacx. Don't let him use that ultimate.
They are going to go in right away and force out Just Lion. That's his beads now on cooldown. FataliTyxFire takes some poke as well, but it's Jhox who's so far forward. Snipe doesn't find much at all, and FataliTyxFire actually gets the kill, and he's still on the horse. Two-man stun in the backline on the carries. Just Lion finds Jose. A nightmare now for Maverick as they overcommit into the Phoenix.
And now it's, what do we do? Can we even get Gold Fury at this point? They have to go to it right away. Well, I don't know what they're standing around looking for because no fight is good for them at this point. It's a 5v3. They might be able to burn Gold Fury quickly, but that's really their only hope to salvage this siege. Fire Giant's fallen off as well, so to not get that tier 2 in mid is pretty strange to me. That's 1,500 gold sitting there waiting. It's so low. There's no way OutCold would have contested it, and that's more time you're going to have to spend later on in order to get your map ready to go to push all the Phoenixes, and you lose the Gold Fury. This is where, yes, they have a fairly big lead, but it's not big enough. You need to really push it into the 10K territory at this point in the game to be able to impose your will without any threat of the enemy team doing a whole lot to you. Especially when Lokiberto has to use that ultimate early on. I don't know. I disagree with that shot call to try and push left side Phoenix. There is enough on the map elsewhere to put themselves in a better position. And you don't have to totally give up on the Phoenix Siege. You can go Gold Fury, mid tier 2. Let's try our luck on mid Phoenix. Let's try our luck on left side Phoenix. And you're in a much better position there because at least you've gotten something.
Pyromancer actually not confirmed.
My God.
What? They didn't leash it properly. I know it's just a Pyromancer, but that hurts. I mean, it can't happen that way, right? To one support Naja by himself and just
Literally,
walk up?
Did that guy just walk up slowly and auto-attack?
That's what he did and took it. That's not good at all.
That's when you know you put the fear of God in them. You know, that you're literally 1v4, you're 8-2-9, you've been dominating them all game long, and you go, I'm taking this now.
Yeah, and OutCold.
And they apologized
Yeah,
to
they
you.
did. They were like, whoops, our bad.
We didn't know that you wanted it.
Yeah, we'll leave that
I never
for you.
would have touched it if I had known.
Well, now I'm wondering, and I think your point about the tier 2 is important because now if they get it, I wonder if they're even going to be able to find the timing to spend the gold from it. They might end up sticking around with some of that gold just in their pockets. If they'd gotten it, like you said, then the back, they would have already spent that gold and it would have helped them out a little bit further. One more thing maybe to watch, but because of this waiting, this Fire Giant will be the enhanced version when they drop it, so that'll make it that much more valuable. It's just Lion, a bit isolated here now, but now comes the Fear No Evil and only catches OhMyJhox best on the back end, but he was in the mounted archery that forced out the Scarab's Blessing early on for this Ullr.
Sash right there at the right time. That was beautiful by Jose. That's enough to confirm the kill on Just Lion. Snipe there just in case. Cynortas has to use that Taiko drums. Under siege from Lokiberto underneath the tier 2, which is going to help out on the defense.
They are going to grab this tier 2 tower, which again should have already been down by now. Lokiberto gets stunned out and then allows OutCold to get the full back here. But this game has Jose's name stamped on it in big bright letters, man. What a game he's had for himself so far on this Naja. If Maverick makes it to game 3, I'm putting it at his feet, man. He's played so well.
Absolutely. The difference between game 1 and game 2 has been night and day. And this is where the siege makes so much more sense. Use this consistent sustain. Use the fact that your ultimates are on pretty low
relic
cooldowns.
from Cynortas either. He's totally vulnerable in this engagement. He's kind of just standing there hoping that no one will come back and find him. They're settling for the Phoenix instead, which is the right call as Jose sashes out Kinder and doesn't allow him into the fray. That means Phoenix down. Maverick now have breaking open the door to the base and OutCold on the back foot.
It feels like there's a shot caller in Mv3 that's doing pretty well, that understands what they want to do as FataliTyxFire, pretty far forward, but pretty tough to kill a Guan Yu from this spot. The shot caller seems to know what they've got going on, but they kind of lose control every once in a while. Things are going well, so his team stops listening to him quite as much. And
they only want to listen when they want to listen.
Right, it's like, hey guys, come on, we got to be listening right here, and then things start going well. This is much better. That's a big wave on the left side, and look at this. Because OutCold had so much time, because they tried to kill FataliTyxFire, they didn't get back to Fire Giant in time, and now OutCold's actually in a position to pull it.
They're considering this, and I think this might not be a bad idea if they can force in Maverick before Jox is able to rotate, because he had to go to the tier 1, Phoenix rather, and defend on the left-hand side. He's even stopping for speed.
I like it.
But
you want to keep them here as long as possible.
They're going to go right on ahead. They've already used the ultimate from Kinder Warrior. Force is going to force out the beads, and actually find a 2-man stun onto Jose. That's going to interrupt the damage and keep Yasi alive. A nice job getting up into the sky. The ultimate's there to follow up. It actually does hit and bring Fatality quite low, but not enough for the kill.
Not quite yet, but Fatality getting lower. Scarab's Blessings there beautifully by mrsacx.
Good
Fatality
job.
makes sure he falls by getting next to Fire Giant. Pulled back in, Sax will fall, and the rest of OutCold's getting really low.
It's OhMyJhox Beast that ends up getting the credit for the kill in the end. They still don't have the FG, but they want to keep pushing while OutCold are reeling. Man, that's just too bad. That fight felt good, but FataliTyxFire goes a little bit too far forward. And then it's Jose yet again recognizing that he can put in good damage, set up for Yasi, and bring that Guan Yu down low.
I don't know why they're not just pulling this. Yeah, they're a little poked out, but Yasi's got enough mana to get them healthy. Delaying the
and it's
inevitable.
heavily warded, so OutCold, no, for sure.
I guess at this point, you want your Fire Giant to last as long as possible so you can get it while you're healthy and then begin sieging right away instead of getting it and wasting time backing to base. But theoretically, mrsacx is going to be up and OutCold will have regrouped, and they could go for a Fire Giant defense at this point. Though what I was saying was you want to keep OutCold on that fire as long as possible from that position because you have mid Phoenix down. So you're getting pressure by way of fire minion waves right away, whereas OutCold has to make a decision pretty quickly on the fight.
Well, this is curious to me because if OutCold were going to defend the Fire Giant, I wonder why they spread out the way they did. They lock him down right on the ring around the Fire Giant for extra damage, and the snipe is there, I believe, to follow up. FataliTyxFire now has to dash out.
Kinder Warrior finds a really good fear. Weevil shoves everybody towards his team, but Fire. So the first one out, Yasi able to escape by the skin of his teeth. And now it's JhoX who's trying to do the same.
It was just Kinder Warrior there by himself. I agree it was a good ultimate, but very, very risky. There was no follow-up there to help. And now they'll heal around Yasi, but OutCold still do want to at least be nearby, at least make it difficult for Maverick to try and pull this FG.
Now it's OutCold with ward control. Well, they thought about getting ward control, decided against it. A little too scared of what could be coming. Lokiberto's got to use Somersault Cloud defensively. Yet again, just so sloppy. Again, it feels like MV3 is, there's an internal struggle on whether or not they want to do the right thing. Because sometimes they do it perfectly, and other times they're just running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
They'll use the raw heal to keep this fight going. Jose is well below half HP and needs to be careful, but that's set up for JhoX to come in and bring down Cynortas. Scarab's Blessing keeps him alive though, so JhoX will not find the kill, and FG will yet again be reset.
Just Lion under siege now by Lokiberto. Just Lion can jump away, and remember, Somersault Cloud is down from just a moment ago. JhoX abducted, still okay. Typhoon is ugly by JhoX. Gets a little bit of damage on the Kinder Warrior, but nothing really there.
And Fire Giant remains standing. To be fair, I mean, the longer that this goes slowly and stalls out and they can't quite find a way to get it done, I mean, it does benefit OutCold. And what's really curious is that it's been a staggered defense from OutCold, right? They haven't even had all 5 members there to slow it down. It's just that Maverick can't cleanly decide if they want the fight or the FG, and so OutCold are kind of getting away with these sort of half-and-half defenses.
And now their mid-Phoenix is back up. They're in a perfectly fine spot. Now OutCold is in no rush, basically, once they kill this last Fire Minion wave to defend this Fire Giant. You can take your time, get there, spend all the time you want in the world dancing around with MV3. It looks like MV3 is going to try and siege into this without a Fire Giant buff and without a Fire Minion wave. If you're going to try and get this, they should have gone straight to the Oni Fury, gotten this wave enhanced a minute ago, and then been able to push with it. That makes way more sense than just trying to go in, because look at that, your wave's already gone, and so are your chances of sieging easily.
Yeah, but I think we both know they've kind of stumbled into this decision. It wasn't a minute and a half ago when they decided to do it. Now they're here and they're like, well, maybe we have a chance to force it down before it gets all the way healthy and we can keep this pressure going.
But this is as healthy as it's getting at this point. I don't know. Blink in that by Jose, has that ultimate available. No, it's already down, actually got beatsed away. Cynortas here with the Tycho drum. Snipe is beautiful though by Yasi, punishing him for using that immobile ultimate, but Lokiberto gets punished first. Beast is next on the list. FataliTyxFire chased him down, and it looks like he's not done yet. No,
this is a nightmare fight for Maverick, absolutely. And that's without Cynortas actually getting much off the Tycho drums, it felt like. I don't think he hit very much of them, so that's a huge fight for OutCold to be able to turn that one back around. Now MV3 are on the back foot, and OutCold, as much as I can think, should be heading towards the FG, and it looks like they are now.
Well, sometimes you might just want to back, make sure you let your opponents like regroup. Maybe their mid-Phoenix will come up. They can come back and defend. Yeah, let's get Pyromancer right now after winning a big team fight. And they're not getting Fire Giant. This is, okay, now we're thinking about pulling it, but let's make sure we let MV3 get as close to respawning as possible. That's way better.
I'm very curious about some of this extra time they're taking. And now Yasi's here with the ultimate, and Raw Snipe's quite good at stealing away objectives, especially if no one's pressuring, because right now everyone's in the pit. Yasi would have time to look for this. It'll be Kinder Warrior's responsibility to grab him, as now they bait him in. FataliTyxFire gonna try and take him down. He has both relics. He's dancing around, staying alive, just barely, but FataliTyxFire gets him in the end.
JhoX was really close to bringing down Kinder Warrior, but another good Scarab's Blessing. For as bad as the Khepri looked in the early game, Sax has looked great in the mid to late. He's been able to extend these fights really, really well, getting his ultimates onto the right carries the right time. But again, it's another fight where a team wins hand over fist, and then they don't get an objective afterwards. OutCold is sent packing on that Fire Giant fight.
It's curious too, because I agree the pick on the Raw was clean. They baited him in. That was their target the whole time. But I just don't see that that's better than the FG, right? Or than getting it immediately after the fight. And now it's Maverick who are at least nearby, considering it, but they're not going to pull it just yet.
Enhanced Fire Giant's really good, John Finch.
Yes.
It does a lot for you.
Yes.
It's a lot of power.
It's good.
It lets you kill Phoenixes really, really easily.
All true.
They should really try and kill it.
Where the lie, though?
Stop me when I'm wrong.
Right. You've never lied, as mrsacx ends up getting sashed. Jose takes some damage.
Nice
Actually, a
poke.
nice hail of arrows that lands on OhMyJhox Beast, and that pushes him back significantly. He can find some camps and heal up a bit with his sustain, but it'll be a while before he's right back in the frame ready to go. Has the OD bow at this point, too, so that's good damage. But Lokiberto gets blown up. Not even the somersault cloud. He is gone.
Not tanky enough. Kinder Warrior looking for a little bit more. There's
Just
that Fear No
Jose.
Evil. Stun should be there as well. On to Jose. FataliTyxFire trying to cut off his escape route and does just that. Kinder Warrior able to get the kill for himself. OhMyJhox Beast trying to jump on a horse because it looked fun when FataliTyxFire was doing it, but a little bit stronger on the Guan Yu most of the time. Tier 2 tower should be the call. This should be a right side Phoenix. Lokiberto's up in 35, so not much longer. But with FataliTyxFire backing, he's going to come in fully healthy, ready to go with all his mana. And a Masamune, so enough damage certainly coming from this Guan Yu.
It absolutely will be. He'll also be quite difficult to take down as JhoX blinks in, hesitates, and then looks for the pull. That snipe does hit 2. That's just Lion and Cynortas. Exactly who you want in the back line now low. But who's in a position to punish? It's JhoX. Typhoon charge, knockup hits multiple, and all of a sudden OutCold can't find a way to clean up this Phoenix.
They're not even going to get a Fire Giant Finch. It's going to happen again. It's happening. It's happening. It can't happen again, can it? They win a fight 30 minutes in. They kill 2 people, and they get a tier 2?
That's it. Well, maybe. We'll see. But no, look at this. Loki's actually teleported to the back end of the fight. This is great. Tiger stun. Doesn't quite land. FataliTyxFire makes it up onto the horse, so he will make it out. But Yassi's the one who's zooming forward by himself. Fear No Evil lands onto the Raw. He's feared. And now FataliTyxFire with a chance to clean it up. But OhMyJhox Beast and dancing around to the heel is enough. Wow. This is a roller coaster I'm on right now. It's a Final Destination roller coaster.
Seriously.
So
I'm about to get decapitated by a screw that got knocked loose at some point. That's how this is going to go. This is absurd. Lokiberto, by the way, needs to get tankier. I mean, the Void Shield and Soul Eater combination, you're doing enough damage with this that you have to respect it, but you saw how easily it got blown up. Jose is somewhere. Cell shifters, this is like, you need to be full tank at this point if you're frontliners, because your damage dealers are going to do enough damage by themselves.
Just Lion now in a little bit of trouble. He wants to try and turn things around. mrsacx has to leave, but Cynortas comes in and blows up OhMyJhox Best. A killing spree now for the Raijin, and so I'm thinking maybe an FG?
Whoa. I mean, come on. They haven't decided them yet, so there's no way to get a Fire Giant at this point.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
You right.
Or will it? I think they can do it, Finch.
I think they could too.
Well, they definitely could. Okay. Good Fear No Evil. Yassi should be dead to rights. Nicely done by Kinder Warrior. That's how you do it as the assassin. And this should be a Fire Giant.
Yeah, I can
Just
see
Lion's going to die to this fire.
Nope, they skipped. So he's going to make it out. See, Fire Giant's still actually slowly being burned. This is not enough DPS.
If they steal this, I'm leaving.
I think there's time for
Maverick
to make it here. There's time for JhoX to come in and find a way. He's going to use the Ox form to try and get in. It's OutCold that somehow secured the objective. But how close was it? Cynortas nearly dead, just Lion low, and 2 members from MV3 there. That was not easy.
You almost solo casted the rest of this game.
That almost happened to me.
I would have left. I would have come back, but I physically would have left.
You certainly would have walked out.
Yes, that would have had to happen. But we got there. We got there. There is a Fire Giant now down. That's the second Fire Giant of the game. The first one since like 20 minutes. That's a long time to go between Fire Giants.
It is a while, but that
especially when
mean
there's so many team fights that each side won.
It does mean, though, that OutCold now have the significant power play with that enhanced version of the Fire Giant. They should be able to burn down these objectives quite quickly at this point in the game, especially with some 10 online on the way there for Just Lion. He has the Crusher, so that'll actually be effective up against these Phoenixes, some of that pin there. And they shouldn't have any trouble shredding it down. The question is, though, are they going to be able to keep their eyes on JhoX? Is Yassi going to land another big snipe? Is Jose going to take someone critical out of the team fight early on, right? As long as they can avoid some of those things, OutCold should happen.
Yassi just needs to find Cynortas with a blink ult at this point in the game. And Yassi has to be able to kill him off of it. That's your easiest comeback scenario now for Maverick, is just let Jose find a carry. Could be Just Lion as well. Just Lion or Cynortas. Blink, win Fire Wheels into the Raw combo, and MV3 will be able to stabilize. But outside of that, they're in some trouble. Now, OutCold did have some trouble themselves trying to siege on that right side Phoenix before, and that was against 3 members. We'll see how they do it with 5.
I don't know if they're aware, but there's no relics for Cynortas. This would absolutely be the time to blink onto that Raijin and try and punish him. No Aegis available for Yasi either. And that perhaps might be why we're seeing a little bit of hesitation here from OutCold. They don't have a minion wave either. Raw quite good at clearing those from range on the defensive side, as it's come all the way full circle. It was Mv3 who were pushing earlier in the game.
Jose, as I said, just needs to try and get in there and get his hands dirty. Cynortas is doing pretty well at staying as far back as possible, but you're still in range of a blink ult.
Pull in that lands on a FataliTyxFire. Looks like some damage came through as well, maybe from the snipe, as Jose is quite low. Fear No Evil locks him down, and Kinder Warrior finds the first kill of this fight to get things going. Now with the 5v4, OutCold can feel much more comfortable pushing in.
What's the point of blink if you're just going to walk at? I mean, you have to use it aggressively, especially when you upgrade it, you get that damage mitigation. Good job by OutCold. They recognize that that guy's dead as soon as he gets CC'd.
FataliTyxFire still low, taking up a little bit too much damage. Phoenix still standing as well, but it is getting low. It does end up falling, and Mv3 had to fall all the way back to their fountain. That's the Aegis from OhMyJhox best as well. So a little bit less safe from the Hachiman as he steps forward.
And look at that, right side Phoenix has already fallen. Some split push there by Kinder and a big minion wave. So now it's only 1 Phoenix remaining, and Mv3 still without their support.
OutCold Gaming certainly should be able to grab it. They have all the advantage in their favor. Still the Fire Giant, still the numbers, and even still a couple ultimates, or rather just mrsacx ultimate available to them. Mid Phoenix does come down. That's all 3. A difficult place to come back from, but OhMyJhox best finds a good kill. A good snipe land as well, but Kinder Warrior goes in and punishes the Hachiman player, but Typhoon just as good. Yasi kills him on the back end of it. Now FataliTyxFire going to fall, but they don't have their Hunter, so yes, this is a good fight, but just how much can they capitalize on the back end?
You can get a Phoenix here, without a doubt. I don't know that you can push for the end, but maybe you should if you're Mv3. Maybe this is your, because from here, you have to win another fight in the same manner
with
to
all
try
3
and,
Phoenixes down.
Right, to try and end the game. You might just want to base race, and I wouldn't have minded seeing Kinder Warrior or Cynortas stick around and force them to back by going onto the Titan with an upcoming Fire Wave.
Loki's going to force his way in right away, and you can tell that he can't tank this quite as much as they want, and JhoX gets deleted by the damage coming out from Cynortas and the Fear No Evil paired together. This Phoenix Siege has fallen apart as quickly as it started, but remember, it is only 2. They can't stick around forever. A minion wave now should take down those backdoor protections and make this task easier, but it's so difficult without the Hachiman.
This should still be the mid Phoenix, and indeed it goes down. That heal from Yasi puts it on the edge for a minion that dies instantly, and then that forces Loki to go in and tank up a Phoenix all by himself without that extra heal. That was definitely a big oversight by Yasi. Again, I don't mind the call. I think you almost have to try and end the game from that position. That means playing really aggressively, but it just doesn't work out.
And especially because I don't think it was ever one that was pushed that far forward. In that situation, you want Kinder Warrior and Cynortas back by their Titan, right? You don't want them to be able to stand inside the Phoenix range and fight you as
them standing in the Phoenix is perfect for you, because that you want them to step up and you want them to end up dying to you in that would be spot, better, because that's how you end the game, is if you kill those 2 and all of a sudden you get to win. It's just that JhoX gets insta-killed by Fear No Evil and Tycho drops.
They had no way to try and lock them down, though, in the back of that fight. It didn't look like that was their idea, was to try and find any picks. It looked like it was Loki's plan, but he wasn't able to get it done on his own. OutCold should be able to grab this FG without really any kind of hesitation about it whatsoever. They will grab it. In fact, look at Kinder. He's waiting right by that speed buff for a pick if maybe he can find it, but he'll just sell it for the buff. Instead, grab it, and they can move in. All 3 Phoenixes down. The door is wide open.
I really like the way that the right side of OutCold Gaming's map has played this game. The early game, FataliTyxFire and Kinder Warrior were having some struggles, but these mid to late game team fights, those 2 have played far better than their counterparts on Maverick, and I think that's really been the difference maker. Cynortas sure has done a lot of damage, so has Just Lion, despite the bad early game for him, and the scoreline doesn't look great. He's top of his team in player damage, had the top mark in the entire game not that long ago. So I think that there's a lot to say for a lot of members of OutCold Gaming. As I mentioned, mrsacx has had a great late game with those Scarab's blessings, but FataliTyxFire and Kinder Warrior have just been on top of Beast and Yasi all game long, and that's really been the difference.
They've not really given these carries any opportunity to breathe, and they shouldn't give Mv3 much more room to breathe here either. They've got a minion waves pushed up on the left-hand side. There's one on the right side around the tier 2 where it used to be as well. Keep these waves pushed up, keep that pressure on, because right when these Phoenixes respawn is when you want to be there to shut them down again and not give them any opportunity to start healing up.
Not a lot of time for Maverick, though. I mean, Phoenixes are up on left and about to be right, but without OutCold having another enhanced Fire Giant, now most members without their boots, they've got those elixirs of speed, sitting 6 items ready to go. It's going to be difficult to stop them from retaking these birds.
Just Lion going to be scary at this point, as you said, he has sold his off. Looks like so is Kinder Warrior at this point in the game as well. And 4 members in the left side. They've left Kinder Warrior on the middle lane to pull in Jox. The 4 split, and that nets them a left side Phoenix. But now they're going to go in. Jose is going to grab Just Lion. They do need to take down this Ullr as soon as possible. Yasi gets the kill. Kinder drops the Fear No Evil. It does bring Jox low. FataliTyxFire gets a kill, but so does Beast onto him. The Guan Yu falls in return.
mrsacx still has that ultimate. Could use it here. On a Cynortas, stun is there, so is Scarab's Blessing. Beads used as well by Cynortas just in case, as Kinder Warrior able to get one, looking for a second. Jose so low, somersault off the mark, but the auto attack gets the double.
And remember, the fire minions push down that right-hand side, so Jox is able to find a kill, yes, but the minions are pouring in on the Titan. Someone's got to get back there to try and defend it. It looks like it's just Loki right now to try and keep this going, but Jox certainly will fall to the overhand smash. Kinder gets that. Now he and mrsacx with a chance to go put this game to rest.
I don't think there's any way Lokiberto is able to defend against multiple fire waves and a fully stacked Hun Batz. I mean, 5 pure damage items. He's hitting way too hard to get interrupted now.
Yeah, the Zunbot's kind of dummy stacked as the rest of the squad tries to take down this Titan. There's really not much more that he can do all on his own to try and keep this alive. He's been pulled back in. There's minions coming from every direction. I like the effort here, Loki, but it might just be too tall a task. Fear No Evil as well. They get the deicide. And OutCold Gaming in 46 minutes, 25 seconds are able to take game 2 and the set.
Not easy. Not easy there. I think both teams have a lot they need to clean up on. The objective focus and control certainly at the top of those lists, but got to give it up to Kinder Warrior in particular. Finishes the game 10-5-10. And top of the player damage charts. That Hun Batz, man, his late game was almost perfect.
But you gotta feel bad, man, for Mavericks. Or I don't know if feel bad's the right word, but that game was in their grasp.
Oh, yes.
Sure. That's one that they're gonna look back on and say, we should have won this. How do we clean up that communication and make sure that we close those out in the future?
Exactly. Like I said, it feels like they know what they should be doing. They've got the angel and the devil on their shoulder, and they're listening to the devil a little bit too often. Gotta stay more objective-minded and make smarter decisions. That left side Phoenix Siege where they stood around and didn't get anything out of that Fire Giant, that really hurt them in the end.
Make sure they clean up that communication. That's one of those things that can be tough to do. It's easy, though, to get back over to the desk to let them break it down.
It is easy to throw the rest. Thank you, Finch and Aggro, for that 48-minute extravaganza. OutCold Gaming Taco do take the 2-0, but as the caster said, it was not easy.
There's so many different places to start that I'm just going to go for some of the more obvious ones. I think both sides, both of these teams have a lot to learn in terms of objective control and proper objective pushing. I think that both of these teams definitely struggled with fully committing to a shot call from whoever the shot caller might be on their team, whether or not there is a designated shot caller even for both of these teams. But Mavericks, they do everything right. Everything that you could possibly ask for from this composition, playing off of the Ninja support, early game aggression. They get off to a great lead. OutCold's dual lane is suffering horrendously. Just Lion, you see an 0-3-0 Ullr on your team at the 7-minute mark. You are slamming that F6 button. And yet somehow, through all of that, Mavericks still permit for OutCold to come back into this one solely off of the team fights alone. I just think that there were too many sloppy instances from Mavericks where they would either separate on like who they wanted to try and pick, and also I think the itemization choices got a little bit funky towards the mid and late game stages because I think the Ninja was probably the best example of this. He's running Emperor's armor. He still has this shifter shield. I think he held onto the shifter shields for the entire duration of that game. That's a 48-minute game with the shifter shields Ninja. That's just not something you want to see if you're on that guy's team. And not only
he was
that,
buying wards though.
He was
like,
buying
he
wards, but
he's
it's just, oh God, it's so painful to see though, because you think, all right, he's going into the Emperors because they want some form of initiation, some form of tower siege. But when it came up to that left side Phoenix, the Emperors didn't really make that much of an impact. I think that when you invest to a blink on the Ninja, you have to be the designated initiation. You need to be tanky as a result of that if you want that initiation position to go well. He was not tanky, so you're only getting 50% of what you need to be successful underneath those structure sieges. So that's where the turnaround really starts to happen. And then OutCold, for what it's worth, I mean, there was still a million things that they probably could have done better throughout that match.
But they did win. That's the main thing. And Kinder did make a pretty good performance on that Batz in the jungle, I believe, for the most part. Like, what was the biggest thing he was in? From what Aggro was saying, he said, like, the late game was pretty strong from him. He didn't make a bad decision.
Kinder was proactive with the Fear No Evils, and I think that was the biggest thing to me, was that he was consistently forcing out those beads from the Raw, and had it not been for Kinder finding the Fear No Evils time and time again, I definitely think that OutCold might have just ended up seeing themselves going the full best-of-3 series here, because a lot of those Fear No Evils ended up being the difference maker in some of those later team fights. And as a result, I just think that OutCold really need to work around committing towards structures. They almost lost it all on that right side Phoenix. I think they nearly gave up the chance for an enhance there, but still, they did come out as the winners in the end. You can definitely see some of the inexperience from both of these teams being newer to competitive scene, but I am still curious to see how they continue to progress.
Well, OutCold came in, take the 2-0 on PlayStation Europe for the time being. We'll see how they do next week, but at the moment, they're top of the standings. Onwards, though, we move to Europe Xbox next, and we'll be up with that right after this break.